First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for agreeing to participate in this project. As anesthesia providers, it's always useful for us to have multiple ways we can go about anesthesia. I'm Aaron Dries, and I'm conducting this project under the supervision of my advisor, Jordan Palmer, and my department chair, Andrew Rice. To begin, a couple of clarifications on what neuraxial analgesia is. The two general options are epidural and spinal, with the epidural normally being used for cases in which longer duration of analgesia is anticipated. Spinal anesthesia is generally utilized for shorter cases, but also cases in which an absolute block is known to be needed, especially with C-sections. Spinals are frequently used with C-sections because they are reliable and predictable with their effects. The amount of medication used for spinals is very small, however. That makes the medication choice especially important. Spinals are useful also because they work quickly, last between 1 and 4 hours, and have a lower incidence of post-dural puncture headache, likely due to using a much smaller needle. As mentioned, medications chosen for a spinal are vital, and tight control must be used to ensure adequate dosing. Generally, spinals consist of a local anesthetic, and they may include an adjuvant, which is a secondary medication that may further the effects of the first or add another desired effect. Local anesthetics typically used for spinals include bupivacaine, levobupivacaine, and ropivacaine. Adjuvant options are many, but they typically include opioids, alpha agonists, and they may also include magnesium. Magnesium has been studied and implemented for decades, but its use has never been widespread. Some aspects of using magnesium intrathecally are a prolonged block of sensation with variable motor block. Some studies indicate that the motor block is comparable to local anesthetics alone, while some indicate that the motor block lasts longer, but the literature is clear on prolonging the block of sensation. With a longer sensation block, you get decreased postoperative pain, which aids in decreased postoperative opioid use. The one downside of intrathecal magnesium is that the onset of the block is delayed, with the typical onset being around 3.5 to 4.5 minutes. Pain control and hemodynamic response have been generally comparable to opioids, but we will discuss that more in depth in a moment. One common side effect of opioids in spinals is itchiness. That side effect is absent with magnesium. Magnesium is thought to prevent pain by blocking NMDA receptors at the neural postsynaptic membranes, though that is suspected and not for sure. A primary issue with using magnesium is concern over hemodynamic response. It is a medication that is already used to treat heart conditions, and concern over hemodynamic profile is warranted. What does intrathecal magnesium do to cardiac function then? And what is the proper dose to administer, if there is one? Ayman El-Morabba and Mustafa did a study in which they compared 3 spinal doses of magnesium with the intent of determining a comparable profile to opioids, and they discovered a good baseline recommendation for magnesium sulfate as an adjuvant. They found adequate block provided with 50, 75, and 100 milligrams. They also discovered that at 100 milligrams, they saw a spike in hypotension, nausea, and vomiting. Their research uncovered a trial in which 25 milligrams was also used, but the benefit of the prolonged block was not as significant with the 50, 75, and 100 milligram blocks by comparison. Each of those block doses increased the duration of the block. With this information, there is a good baseline to establish a nomogram for cardiac safe intrathecal magnesium administration. For a height of less than or equal to 5'3", which is 160 centimeters, 50 milligrams of magnesium sulfate may be employed, according to literature, without hemodynamic compromise. And for greater than 5'3" inches or 160 centimeters, 75 milligrams of magnesium may be employed, also without compromise. This is a proposal for safe administration of magnesium based off of clinical evidence, albeit limited. Further studies may be able to test this proposal to determine efficacy and propriety. With many different adjuvants available, it is beneficial to see the difference that can be attained with each. And magnesium has a very favorable profile to the majority of adjuvants that are used today, especially when a longer block is necessitated and when utilized in a proper range. I've used more information along the way with this project, though they haven't been used for contribution to this presentation. If you would like more information, my email is at the bottom here, aaron.dries@my.uu.edu. If you email me, I can provide you a more thorough list of research. Thank you very much for your time.